Okay, let's begin. Welcome everyone to our public meeting. We're going to discuss the proposed determination for the Sandy Midvale Subdivision. Just so everyone is aware, this meeting is recorded and will be available on our website and our YouTube channel. Just as far as some introductions, I'm Ryan Broadbent with the Division of Water Rights, Engineering Manager for the Adjudication section. Also with me in the chat is Michael Drake, the Assistant State Engineer for the Adjudication section. I also have Gordon Rowe, our Assistant Attorney General, that helps out, one of the ones that helps out with the adjudication. And a couple other members of the adjudication staff are also present and joining the meeting today. This public meeting is to discuss the proposed determination that was filed with the court on March 18th. Our goal is to give a small presentation on the adjudication process and where the Sandy Midvale subdivision stands in that process. We also hope to give an introduction to the proposed determination document to familiarize you with it and how to interface with it and its various components. Following our presentation, we'll have a question period and you will be able to answer questions live, or we have an email address that we will monitor for any questions that we receive. You're also, if you'd like, you can respond in chat and we'll try and pick up those questions as they come in as well. So, moving on. The agenda for tonight is to present the adjudication process and show the progress of the Sandy Midvale subdivision in this process. We will also review an overview of the proposed determination document, demonstrate its various components, and talk about how to read each piece. We will review an overview, or we will present the hydrographic survey maps and what they represent. We will discuss options of how to access these documents, and we'll have a period of answering questions that you may have or present during this presentation. We'll definitely set aside any time for that at the end of the thing and record those as well. So let's look at the adjudication process. The adjudication process is essentially broken into three phases, color-coded on this document here. And they are kind of laid out, and this is the time frame of how the Sandy Midvale document went into effect. The first phase, the green phase, is the initiation. It starts with a petition to the court to perform an adjudication of the area. This petition was filed in September of 1944, and this case has been ongoing ever since. This individual subdivision is part of the larger adjudication called the Utah Lake and Jordan River adjudication. This subdivision, the Sandy Midvale subdivision, began by a notice in the newspaper in April of 2018, followed shortly by a summons to all registered property owners, registered agents, and any water right holder with a water right listed in the area. That summons was followed by a public meeting on May 16th to discuss the process of the adjudication and how the Sandy Midvale book was going to be moved forward in that. That initiation phase is followed by a claim filing phase, which began June 1st of 2018 when we mailed out and published in the newspaper a notice to file claims. This notice to file claims was issued to, again, all property owners and water right holders in the area. It is essentially a notice to file your claim for any water right that you may be using at this time. After that 90-day period, we developed a list of unclaimed rights, which are essentially rights of record that we have on our database that we did not receive a claim for during the 90-day period. These rights were put on a list and filed with the court as the list of unclaimed rights that we were seeking to get these rights abandoned as they are no longer being actively used or claimed. That filing with the court of that unclaimed rights list was followed by a 90-day objection period, to which you can object to your right being placed on the list of unclaimed rights and hopefully get it taken off of there. During that objection period, we also had a public meeting to discuss this list of unclaimed rights and how to file an objection to get your right off of there if it had made it on there. After that public meeting and after the 90-day objection period, we entered into an objection resolution period where we resolved all objections to that list of unclaimed rights. And that was also followed by an interlocutory decree declaring those rights abandoned. We then entered the final stage of the adjudication, which is the claim investigation and seeking for the proposed determination document. This was done by issuing a final summons in May of 2019, and claim investigation was ongoing from 2018 to 2022. After we felt we had finished these claim investigations, which we wrapped up in probably February of this year, we put all of those claim recommendations into a document called the proposed determination, and that was filed with the court on March 18th of 2022, which also initiated a 90-day period in which to object to the proposed determination. That 90-day objection filing period will end June 16th, 2022, and that will be kind of one of the focuses of this public meeting, is to walk you through that objection process and how it would be handled. The next part of that would be the public meeting, which we're holding today. And that would all be followed by an objection resolution and decree period after the 90-day objection period, where we would resolve any objections to the proposed determination and seek for an interlocutory decree, therefore decreeing all those rights as valid, and those rights would then become decreed rights per the state. So let's talk about the proposed determination. The proposed determination is broken into multiple parts. We have the title page, the notice to water users, the preamble, the location map, priority schedule, the description of water rights, the disallowed rights, and the alphabetical index. We'll kind of walk through a little bit of each one of these and kind of point out some of the pieces that you need to be aware of while you're reading this proposed determination, in the event that you want to see that your water right is being recognized, or in the need that you need to file an objection. So this is the title page of the proposed determination. You can see that there's a few pieces on here that are important to see. This one is the district court that has jurisdiction over this court case. This would be the Third District Court for Salt Lake County. The next piece of this would be the name of the case and the civil number. This is the hydrologic division and subdivision name. Notice we are in the Salt Lake County East Division and the Sandy Midvale Subdivision. And this is the area and book number that it would be recognized by on the records of the state engineer. This is area 57, book number 21. This is the notice to water users. And there's a couple of key pieces on this that we should be aware of. First off, this is, again, the civil case number. You will need this if you were ever to file an objection. And this also lists the judge's name, the Honorable Laura S. Scott. This is your instructions for filing an objection. Notice that these objections, again, will need to be filed within that 90-day period after being served the notice, and should be both issued to the Third District Court and the Water Rights Division. The next part of the proposed determination would be our preamble. The preamble is kind of the description of the proposed determination and kind of the individual pieces and how this would work. One of the important parts of this preamble will be the prior decree section. So these preambles or these proposed determinations will need to incorporate any prior decrees for water rights in the area. Water rights in this area are mentioned on the prior decree for the Jordan River we call it the Morris Decree, and it's mentioned here, as well as the Gardner decision that is also mentioned as part of the Booth Decree. And these decrees in their entirety are available on our website if you'd like to read them. But the idea with these is that they have been considered and we have captured them inside the proposed determination moving forward. The next part of the proposed determination is the location map, and this shows the boundaries of the subdivision as we have it today. So this is the Sandy Midvale Subdivision. You notice that it's kind of bounded on the west by the Jordan River, the north by 7200 south, the east by 700 east, and to the south by 106 south. We're only dealing with water rights that have a point of diversion located within this boundary of this subdivision in this proposed determination. So the next part is the priority schedule. The priority schedule is important in Utah as water is distributed by prior appropriation, which means if shortages were to happen, these priority dates would be used to determine who receives the water first. And again, this is usually most applicable to surface sources, but if we ever got in a situation where underground sources were also starting to be limited, the priority dates on those would come into play as well. So let's look at a few of the items on this priority schedule. First, we have the water source. This one's circling the Jordan River. We also have the Oxbow Pond sump, an unnamed spring, underground water wells, just a general description of where the water would be coming from. We have a priority date. Again, this is the date of which the water from this source was originally put to use and is how we determine priority of who gets to use the water. We have a flow rate or an annual volume. This tells you the amount of water that you're able to use with this right. We have the water right number, which identifies it on the state engineer's records. And we have the owner of record as they appear on the state engineer's records. Moving to the next section, this would be the description of water rights. And this is probably the bulk of the proposed determination. Kind of running through the parts, these are the definitions of what we will be recognizing for each of these individual water rights. So again, we have the water right number. This is the water right that is how it's recognized on the state engineer's records. We would have the name of the owner of record, and any ownership interest remarks would be located here. The type of right and quantity of water. So this right is an application to appropriate. It's got an application number and has a quantity of water of 0.348 CFS or 7.67 acre feet. The CFS would be a flow rate, and the 7.76 would be an annual volume of water that's available to this right. Next, we have the priority date and the source. Similar to what you would see on the priority schedule, this again defines when the water was first put to use and where it's coming from. The next piece of this would be the points of diversion and points of diversion location and well data, if there is any well data available. So this is a PLS description of where the point of diversion is located, giving township range and section markers for each of these things, and it also has some well data. This is an 8-inch well, 244 feet deep. The next portion is the beneficial use section, and here we have the water right group number. This group number would be grouping any rights that have a common use. A lot of these rights will be singular to these groups, but we do have groups that have multiple rights that contribute. These are the nature of the beneficial use. This one is good for stock watering, domestic, and other uses. A few other ones you might see are municipal, irrigation, and just some general, this is generally how the water is being placed to beneficial use, or is allowed to be placed to beneficial use. Some other components are the period of use. These uses are from January 1st to December 31st. Irrigation, you would see, would have an irrigation period probably similar to April 1st to November 31st, or March 1st to November 15th to November 15th, depending on where you're at in the state. This is the sole supply that the use is good for. This one's good for 103 ELUs, which is a equivalent livestock unit, and 1 equivalent domestic unit. And then you get the group totals. This one, the group total and the sole supply are the same because it is only one right in the group. The next thing we have on here is the place of use matrix. And this place of use matrix basically indicates which 40-acre tract in a particular township range and section that this water is being placed to use in. So this one would describe the section, township, and range. And then we would have the place of use quarter sections. And then we would mark which of those quarter sections this water is being placed to beneficial use. And then we would have the place of use acreage total per individual section, and then totaled at the end for the group total. The next part of this would be the general comments. You notice this general comment is for one of the decree rights, and we would basically put any other general information on this water right that needs to be put forward would be go here. Again, this one is identifying that this right is based on an award from the Morris decree and gives the paragraph, and then also gives the limitation of its acre feet of depletion. The next section of the proposed determination is the forfeited rights. These are the rights that, due to non-use, are being recommended for complete forfeiture. Another item to remember here is that some rights in the description that we just looked at previously have also had some partial forfeiture based on how much of the uses that we saw in use today. And those are not identified like these ones are, where these would be a complete forfeiture of the right from non-use during the period that we are evaluating. So you would notice here, you would see that we have the water right number as it appears on the records of the state engineer, the name of the owner of record, the point of diversion, the source. The next section is the invalid rights. These are similar to the forfeited rights in that they are water rights that are being recommended to be removed or to be invalidated, but these ones are rights that may not have met the standard to be called a water right, which would be similar to claiming pre-statutory use without proper documentation to show that it has been used in pre-statutorily, or a claim that could not document that they followed the proper procedures when they began to put the water right into use. That would be something similar to drilling a well after 1935, when you're required to have an application to appropriate and the proper paperwork was never acquired. So these rights would also be considered forfeited by this document. And again, we'll see the various pieces. You'd have the water right number, the owner of record, and then the points of diversion and the source. The next section is the alphabetical index. This lists the water rights in the PD based on the ownership alphabetically. So again, we'd have the name of the owner of record, the source, the water right number, and then the page number of where on this PD that you would be able to find information regarding this ownership and this water right. Next part that we want to discuss is the hydrographic survey. So as part of the investigation, we prepared a visual record of the findings of the water uses in the geographic area. We put these findings on a hydrographic survey map, and we put these into the record of the state engineer. These hydrographic survey maps have a few pieces we can look at here. The pretty standard north arrow, scale, and scale bar. It tells you which direction is north and what the scale of the particular page in the hydrographic survey is. We have the map legend. This kind of documents the book boundary, the PLS, the township ranges, sections, quarter sections. Has our pages for this map. Also identifies allowed points of diversion, disallowed points of diversion, and abandoned points of diversion. And then also identifies the water use group numbers and the appropriate irrigation areas that we have ascribed to each of those particular groups. And then we have the map location that kind of identifies where in this subdivision this particular sheet is looking. All right, so let's discuss how to access the PD. So the recipients of the notice of the proposed determination are all water right owners listed on the record of the state engineer, any claimant who submitted claims in the Sandy Midvale adjudication, registered agents for corporate entities owning water rights or having filed claims within the adjudication boundary, and then counsels of records who have filed an appearance with the court. The proposed determination can be accessed via the internet, and we have a link here at waterrights.utah.gov/pdbook/Sandy Midvale PD. You can also request a hard copy be printed at our office for a nominal printing fee. And this has also been filed with the Third District Court, and I believe you can get a copy of it from them as well. The hydrographic survey map can be accessed via the internet at waterrights.utah.gov/pdbook/Sandy Midvale HS, and hard copies can be viewed at our office. So who can I contact to discuss the adjudication process? We've got a couple of people you can talk to here. Michael Drake, who is again in the meeting here, is the assistant state engineer over the adjudication, and you've got his phone number and email there. Myself, Ryan Broadbent, the adjudication engineering manager. My phone number and email are here. You can also call our general adjudication line, 801-538-5282. And that will get you to our main desk, who can get you in touch with a water rights specialist who can help with your problem. And then the other thing is the Division of Water Rights. This is our address and our website. The other thing you can do for contact information is to send any questions to waterrightsadjudication@utah.gov. And this will go to directly to Mike, the assistant state engineer, and he can disseminate these questions to the water rights specialists, and we can take those and respond to those. So with that, that's the end of my presentation. We can now open this up for any questions. Again, just a reminder that this is being recorded and will be placed onto our YouTube channel and our website. So feel free, if you've got any questions, you can put them in chat and raise your hand. You can speak live with us if you'd like. All right, if we've got no questions, I'm going to go ahead and end the recording.